The Galactic Council thought Earth would fall easily. But the humans were not like other species. Were kind, clever, and terrifying when pushed. What began as an invasion became a lesson the galaxy would never forget. Jason sat by the window every evening, watching the sky change colors. The orange glow of the setting sun always reminded him of her Emma. She used to sit in that same spot with a notebook in her lap, sketching the clouds and laughing when he made silly faces. But now the chair was empty.
Ash.
Emma had moved to another city 6 months ago. Her family had to leave because her dad got a new job. They promised to stay in touch, even hugged tight and cried the day she left. But after that, things changed. At first, they messaged every day. Jason would send her funny photos of his cat, or a picture of the garden they planted together. Emma replied with voice notes and drawings of her new life. But slowly, the replies came less often. Then, one day they stopped. Jason didn't understand. Why? He didn't do anything wrong. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she made new friends. Still, every evening, he opened his phone and stared at the last message. Talk later. Miss you. But later never came. He felt something cold inside his chest. Not anger, just sadness. A quiet kind of pain. He missed her voice, her jokes, her way of seeing the world. Without her, the days felt longer, emptier. His parents noticed. Asked him if everything was okay. He smiled and said, I'm fine. But he won? One day, he sat on the porch with his old sketchpad. Emma had given it to him when she left. Draw something every day, she had said. Even if it's just a cloud. He hadn't touched it in weeks. But that evening, he opened it and drew something simpler star. Then he wrote under it, I miss you. But I hope you're happy. That night, Jason didn't cry. He just lay on his bed, holding the sketchpad close, remembering the way Emma used to talk about building things. One day, we'll make something big, she had said. Something that makes people smile. The next morning, Jason had an idea. He didn't want to bother her. But maybe he could try a different way. He began writing a letter. Not a short one, a long one. He told her everything how school felt without her, how the cat still slept on her chair, how the garden was blooming late this year. He even told her how lonely he felt sometimes. But at the end of the letter, he wrote, I don't know if you'll read this. I don't know if we'll ever be close again. I still believe in what you said. We can build something. Us. Even if it's just hope. He folded the letter and placed it in a small envelope. He didn't have her new address. But he posted it anyway, writing the name of her new city and her full name. Maybe someone would find her, maybe not. It didn't matter. Jason had done something that felt right. He reached out. The days continued. The sky changed colors again. But something was different now. Jason had hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe, she would remember too. And somewhere far away. In a quiet apartment filled with new sketches and half-finished ideas, a girl named Emma checked her mailbox. She opened a simple envelope with her name on it. No return address. She unfolded the letter inside. And as she read, her eyes filled with tears. Hope had found its way. Asterisk Emma sat by her window. Legs curled beneath her, staring at the quiet street below. The city was full of life cars, tall buildings, bright lights, but inside her heart, it felt quiet, too quiet. She missed the trees back home, the dirt path behind Jason's house, the tiny garden they grew together. Most of all, she missed Jason. When they first moved, everything felt exciting. New places, new school, new people. But after a while, Emma began to feel lost. Her classmates were kind but didn't understand her jokes. The teachers spoke too. Fast. Her drawings didn't feel the same anymore. She used to draw every day. Clouds, stars, silly faces Jason made. Now her sketchpad sat untouched on her desk. Every time she picked it up, she felt that tightness in her chest. It reminded her of him. And that hurt at first. She tried to stay strong. She messaged him. Often sent him voice notes. Even drew him a small comic about a robot cat. He had loved it. But over time, her messages slowed down. She didn't mean to stop. She just didn't know what to say anymore. She thought maybe he had moved on. He was fine. Maybe it was better to let the silence stay. Then one day, something unexpected happened. Her mother handed her a small envelope after checking the mailbox. "It's for you," she said, smiling. "No return address, just your name and the city." Emma's heart jumped. She opened it quickly, hand shaking just a little. Inside was a letter. A real handwritten letter. She recognized the handwriting right away. Jason, as she read, tears filled her eyes. Each word felt like a warm hug, like the voice of someone she thought she had lost. He had told her everything about the garden, the cat, even his quiet sadness. But most of all, he had sent hope. "I still believe in what you said," he had written. "We can build something, even if it's just hope." Emma pressed the letter against her chest and closed her eyes. For the first time in weeks, she felt something good, something strong. She hadn't lost him, not really. That evening, she pulled her sketchpad close and opened to a new page. She began to draw. A star. A small garden. A boy and a girl holding a letter in the wind. Then she wrote a message under the drawing. "I'm still here. I've always been. Send it right away." Instead, she sat quietly and thought. She realized something important. Even when people are far apart, they can still reach each other through words, through art, through hope. The next day, she walked to the park near her new home. She saw children playing, people reading, and a woman playing music with a smile. Emma sat on a bench and began to draw again. A new sketch. A new story. This one was about two friends who built a bridge across the skyknot with bricks, but with letters, dreams, and courage. When she got home, she wrote a new letter to Jason. "I miss you too," she said, "but I think we can still build something, even from far away. Let's not give up." She included the drawing. She added her new address this time. Then she smiled. The world was big. People moved. Things changed. But feelings like kindness, friendship, and love, those didn't vanish. They waited, patiently, like stars behind clouds always shining, even when you couldn't see them. And as she dropped the letter into the mailbox, she whispered to herself, "He reached me. Now, I'll reach back." Somewhere, far away, a boy sat by his window watching the sunset. And though he didn't know it yet, hope was already on its way home. Jason was in the backyard watering the garden when his mother called him inside. "You've got mail," she said with a soft smile. Jason hurried to the front door, his hands still wet with water. On the table lay a small envelope, familiar handwriting, soft drawing of a star in the corner. He froze. It was from Emma. He held it gently, afraid it might vanish if he blinked too hard. He opened it slowly and pulled out a letter and a folded piece of paper that felt like it carried a piece of her heart. The drawing made him smile right away. It showed two friends, him and Emma, standing across a bridge made of letters and stars, and beneath it, her words, "I miss you too, but I think we can still build something, even from far away. Let's not give up." Jason sat down right there on the floor and read the letter again. And again, his heart felt light. He wasn't alone in missing her. She still cared. She still remembered. Later that evening, Jason returned to his room. He placed her drawing on the wall beside his desk. Then he stared at his old sketchpad. "Can still build something," he whispered. "But what?" He looked around his room. On his shelves were their old comic books. On the table were his notebooks full of stories. And on his computer, dozens of drawings, never shared with anyone. That's when it hit him. He opened his laptop and began typing. The next day, he messaged Emma for the first time in weeks. Subject, "Our project lives." Message, "Hey, what if we turn our letters into something bigger? A story. A webcomic, a world you draw, I write, just like before. Let's build our bridge, page by page." He didn't know if she'd say yes, but he hoped. 3 hours later, her reply came. Yes. Let's do it, Jason grinned, so wide his face hurt. That night, he couldn't sleep. His mind was full of ideas, characters, stories, silly jokes only Emma would understand. For the first time in a long while, he felt excited. The next few weeks were magical. They didn't talk every day, but when they did, it felt real, like nothing had changed. Jason would write a scene, and Emma would sketch it. They created a small website and named it The Sky Between Us. At first, only friends and family read it. Slowly, others found it too. People started sending messages like, "This story feels like my life. I miss someone too. Thank you. You two gave me hope today." Jason realized something powerful: his feelings, Emma's sadness, their shared effort. It wasn't just healing for them. It was helping others too, and that, he thought, was what Emma always meant when she said, "Let's build something that makes people smile." They were doing it. From two faraway windows in two different cities, a boy and a girl were building a bridge of stories, kindness, and courage. One day, Jason wrote in his journal, "Even if we're not close in miles, we're close in heart. And that's enough for now." The sun dipped below the trees. The sky glowed with soft pink and gold. Jason looked up at the stars beginning to appear. They had found their way through sadness. They had turned silence into art. They had turned distance into connection, and they were just getting started. Emma sat at her desk, staring at the new page of their comic. Pencil moved slowly, tracing lines she wasn't sure about. The picture didn't look right. Or maybe it was her feelings that didn't feel right. She sighed. Outside, rain tapped gently on the window. The city lights were blurred in the wet glass. Everything looked soft and far away, just like Jason felt right now. It had been a week since they last talked. He had sent the latest script, and she hadn't replied yet. Not because she was angry, but because she didn't know how to explain what she was feeling. Some days were harder than others. She missed his voice. She missed the way he used to sit beside her and read what she drew with wide eyes. She missed hearing him laugh out loud when a character said something silly. Now, all she had were messages and drawings. Even though those were special, they weren't the same. Emma put her pencil down and looked at her phone. Still no new message. Maybe he was waiting for her too. Maybe he felt the same emptiness. She picked up the sketch pad and opened to a blank page. Then slowly, she began to draw not part of the comic, not something perfect. Just feelings. She drew a girl sitting on a bench holding a phone, looking up at the sky. Above her in the clouds was a boy smiling down. It made her tear up a little. Not from sadness, but from how much she still cared. Meanwhile, miles away, Jason was also feeling quiet. He sat in his room, reading their comic from the beginning. The early pages were full of joy. But now things felt slower, maybe even a little distant. He missed the days when he could just knock on Emma's door and say, "Let's go build something." Now, he stared at his laptop, wondering if she was okay. Then he saw a new message pop up. From Emma's subject. "For when you feel far, hey. I'm sorry I went quiet. I miss you. I miss how simple things used to be. But I drew something for you. Just a feeling. Hope you like it." She attached a drawing. Jason opened it, and his heart filled. It was him. It was her. It was distance and closeness at the same time. He smiled, a real, quiet smile. He hit reply right away. "Thank you. I've been feeling the same. But I think this is what makes our story real. Even when we feel far, we still care. That's powerful," he added. "Let's put this in the comic, not as a joke, as truth. People need to know that it's okay to miss someone and still move forward." Emma read his message and felt warmth. In her chest, they were still building something real. Over the next few days, they added a new chapter to their comic, Even When It Hurts. It was about two friends who couldn't always talk, but who always believed in each other. They didn't give up. They didn't forget. They just kept drawing, writing, and dreaming. Their readers loved it. One comment said, "I cried. This feels like my life. Thank you for showing me that love doesn't end when people move." Another read, hope is stronger than distance. And Jason read those comments together over a video call that weekend. They laughed. They cried a little.
Out.
And for the first time in a while, they just talked. Like before, no pressure.
Out.
No perfect lines. Just two hearts doing their best. As the sun set behind Jason's house and the city lights glowed outside Emma's window, both of them felt something strong between them. A bridge, still standing, still growing. Made of memories, effort, and human. Hope. Emma looked out the school window, resting her chin on her hand. The day felt slow. The teacher was talking about future plans, college, moving again. New cities. Her stomach felt tight. Her parents had told her they might move again. Her dad's job was changing and they might have to leave the city in a few months. Was final. But the thought stayed with her all day. She didn't want to move again. She had just started to feel better. She and Jason had found their rhythm again. The comic was growing. Their calls were fun and real. She was drawing every day, and it felt like she was close to him even if they weren't in the same place. What would happen if she moved again? Walked home slowly that day, her bag heavy on her shoulders. When she got to her room, she didn't draw. She didn't text Jason. She just sat on her bed and stared at the ceiling in her heart. A quiet fear whispered, "What if he forgets me? This time, what if we drift apart again?" She didn't want that. She wanted to hold on. But how? Jason, on the other side of the city, noticed the silence again. It had been 2 days. No message, no sketch. It's just quiet. He tried not to worry. Didn't want to push her. But deep down, he felt it, that same old sadness, like a shadow that only came when things felt too quiet. He sat at his desk and looked at her last drawing again. The one with the clouds and the two friends. Then he had an idea. He grabbed his notebook and began writing. "A letter to my best friend," he titled it. In simple words, he told her everything. "I don't know if you're sad, I don't know if something changed, but I want you to know I'm still here. I care about you. If we ever live far again, I'll still write. I'll still wait. We've come too far to stop now." He added one more line at the bottom. "The sky between us doesn't scare me anymore. Because now I know you're somewhere under it too." He folded the letter and mailed it that same day. 3 days later, Emma opened her mailbox. She saw the envelope, and her eyes filled with tears before she even opened it. She sat at her desk, held the letter in her hands, and read every word slowly. By the end, she was smiling. She felt seen, loved, safe. That evening, she called Jason. When he picked up, she said softly, "I might move again." Jason was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I figured. I could feel it." Emma's voice shook a little. "I'm scared." Jason replied, "Me too, but it's okay. We know how to stay close now. We're better at this." She laughed, wiping her eyes. "Yeah, we are." They talked for hours. About silly things, about serious things, about how they could keep working on the comic, no matter where she went. Then Jason said something that made her heart feel strong again. "We've already built one bridge. If we need another, we'll build that too." Emma looked out her window at the stars beginning to shine. Hope didn't erase sadness, but it made her brave, and that was enough. The boxes were stacked high in the living room. Tape, markers, and rolls of bubble wrap were everywhere. Emma sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, watching her parents pack their books and picture frames. It was really happening. They were moving again. It's time across the country. Another new city. Another new school. New everything. Emma felt heavy inside. She had just started feeling settled. She and Jason had reconnected. Her comic was growing. And now she had to say goodbye again. But this time, it felt different. She remembered the last move. How she left quietly. How the messages faded. How she and Jason almost lost each other. This time, she didn't want that to happen. Still, she was scared. What if distance made them drift again? What if new routines pushed their friendship to the side? That night, she sat at her desk and opened her sketch pad. She drew a small figure walking down a long road. Behind them, the path sparkled, with stars every step lit by memories. In the sky above, a tiny dot with the words, "I'll always be a message away." She took a photo and sent it to Jason. No words, just the drawing. Jason saw the image late that night. He didn't need an explanation. He knew what it meant. He replied simply, "I'm walking with you, every page, every mile, every day." Emma smiled. The morning of the move arrived. The house was quiet. Her room looked empty without her drawings on the wall. She took one last look before they left. Then she slipped a final note under her old desk drawer. "To the next kid who feels lost, you're not alone. There's always a way to start again." The car ride was long. Trees, signs, and skies passed by like dreams. In her backpack, Emma carried her sketchpad and a printed copy of their comic's latest page. She read it over and over. It gave her comfort, like Jason was sitting right beside her. When they arrived at the new apartment, Emma felt tired. The air smelled different. The street looked unfamiliar. But as she unpacked her things, she saw a new message waiting on her phone. From Jason, "Let's make a special chapter. The big move. Show me your new world. I'll write what it feels like. We'll turn this into part of our story too." Tears came to her eyes, but this time they were warm. He hadn't just remembered her. He was still with her that night. Emma went outside with her sketchpad. She sat on a bench near the parking lot and looked up. The stars above looked different, but they were still stars. She began to draw. A moving van. A girl waving from the window. A boy typing on his computer. And across the page, a long bridge made of words and pictures, reaching across hills and skies. She titled it, "No Matter the Distance." And in small letters below, she wrote, "We're not losing each other. We're just learning new ways to hold on." She sent the drawing to Jason with a short voice note, "I'm still here. Let's keep building." Jason listened to her voice again and felt hope grow inside his chest. The world could change. Cities could shift. People could move. But some things like friendship, effort, human connection were stronger than miles. Even stronger than fear. They had learned how to stay close without being near. They had built something real. And they weren't done yet. Asterisk Jason sat alone in the school library, a notebook open in front of him. But the page stayed empty. He was supposed to write the next scene for their comic. Emma had just sent him a beautiful drawing, her new school, with tall windows and cherry trees out front. But something inside Jason felt ... off. He hadn't told Emma, but he had been struggling. His grades were slipping. He felt tired all the time. Rain tapped softly on the classroom windows. A boy named Liam sat in the last row, who'd pulled over his head. Notebook empty in front of him. He had moved to the city only a month ago. Everything still felt strange. The school was too big. Hallways were too loud. And everyone already had their own friends. Liam used to draw back at his old school. He and his cousin would make up silly superhero stories and sketch together for hours. But since the move, he hadn't picked up a pencil. It just didn't feel the same. He felt like no one saw him anymore. Like his voice didn't matter here. During lunch, he didn't eat in the cafeteria. Instead, he sat in the library corner, trying to look busy while scrolling the school's computer. That's when he saw something small but colorful on the screen. A digital comic link shared by one of the teachers on the school site. The title caught his eye. "The Sky Between Us Curious." Clicked it. The first page was simple. A sketch of a boy and girl sitting at windows on opposite sides of the world. Both staring at the stars, Liam kept reading. One page, then another, then 10 more. He forgot about lunch. The comic wasn't about superheroes or aliens. It was about people, real feelings, moving, missing someone, feeling far but trying anyway. Letters, drawings, silence, hope. Each page felt like someone whispering, "Gently, I understand." By the time Liam reached the newest page, "Still here," he had tears in his eyes. He quickly wiped them and looked around. Making sure no one saw, he clicked on the About section. 2 names. Jason Writer. Emma Artist. Just 2 people. Two people who felt the same kind of lonely that evening. Liam found their contact link. His hand shook a little, but he typed, subject, from a reader message. Hi. I don't know if this will reach you, but I wanted to say thank you. I just moved. I haven't drawn since. But your comic made me want to try again. It made me feel seen, like I wasn't the only one floating in the dark. Please don't stop. Jason saw the message first. He read it 3 times, then he sent it to Emma with the note. Look, we reached someone. For real. Emma's hands covered her mouth as she read it. A quiet joy filled her. They had made the comic to stay close. But somehow, it had reached someone else. Someone they had never met. Someone who needed it. She replied to Jason, we have to keep going. Even if just one person feels better, it's worth it. That night, Jason wrote a new script page. Titled it, To the Reader in the Corner. Emma drew it the next day. The scene showed a quiet library, a boy finding a glowing book, and a string of light connecting him to 2 stars in the sky at the bottom. They added a note. You're not alone. We felt like you once too. Keep drawing. Keep going. See you. When Liam read the update the next week, he knew it was for him. He didn't cry this time. He smiled, and for the first time in weeks, pulled out his pencil and began to sketch again. A new story, a new beginning, a reminder that even when someone feels lost, someone, somewhere, is listening. Jason was staring at an email on his screen. He had read it 3 times, but still couldn't believe it was real. It was from a publishing company. A real one. They had discovered the sky between us online. They loved the comic, said it was heartfelt, honest, and unlike anything else. They wanted to feature it in their next collection. Jason's hands trembled. He felt excited, nervous too. This was a big deal. Maybe the biggest thing that had ever happened to him? But the email came with a twist. Only one of them could be invited to speak at the launch event in New York. Just one. Jason stared at the last line. Let us know who will represent the project. His heart sank. He didn't want to choose. This wasn't just his story. It was their story. He picked up his phone to call Emma, but stopped. What if she thought he wanted to take the spotlight? What if this pulled them apart? What if distance won again? Far away, Emma was sitting under a tree near her new school, sketchpad. On her lap, her phone buzzed, and she saw Jason's message. Can we talk? Something big happened. A part of her felt excited, but another part felt that old ache again. That question, are we growing too far apart to stay close? Connected on video call that evening, Jason didn't smile right away. He looked unsure. I got an email, he said. It's about the comic. A publisher. A real one. Emma's eyes widened. What? That's amazing. Jason nodded slowly. They want to publish us. But they said, only one of us can come. To the event? Emma's heart sank. Only one. Oh, she said softly. Well, you should go. You're the writer. Jason looked up quickly. No, that's not fair. I wouldn't have written a single word without your drawings. This is ours. Silence filled the space between them. They both felt it, that strange tug inside. Like the world was giving them something big, but asking them to leave something behind. Jason said quietly. I don't want this to be the thing that splits us. Emma shook her head. It won't. Jason looked up surprised. Emma smiled, but her eyes were glassy. We've survived 2 moves, weeks of silence, and all kinds of doubt. We're still here, right? Right. Emma continued. Then we'll figure this out too. We always do. Jason let out a breath and smiled, the tension slowly melting. Then Emma said something that lit a spark inside him. What if we do something different? What if we send a video? Both of us. Talking about the comic. The journey, our friendship. That way our voices go together, even if only one of us is in the room. Jason's face lit up. That's brilliant. Oh. They spent the next few days writing and recording. They talked about how the comic started with missing each other, how it became more than letters, how it reached people like Liam. They laughed during filming. Jason kept messing up his lines. Emma added little doodles between takes. It felt like old times. And when the final video was done, they watched it together. It wasn't just about their comic. It was about them. Two friends who refused to let go. Two people who showed that the human heart, even when stretched across distance, could still shine bright. When the video played at the event, people clapped. Some cried. And afterward, the publisher sent them both a message. Thank you for reminding us what real stories feel like. Emma and Jason didn't need the spotlight. They had each other, and that was more than enough. Asterisk. Months passed since the publishing event. Emma sat in her new room, surrounded by sketches and notes. The city outside was busy and bright, but inside, she felt calm. Their comic, The Sky Between Us, had found a home in many hearts. It was printed in books, shared online, and even talked about in schools. But for Emma, the most important thing was simple. Jason was still her friend, still her partner in creating something beautiful. One afternoon, Emma received a message from Jason. It was a photo. It showed a small crowd at a library, children sitting cross-legged, eyes wide with wonder as someone read their comic aloud. Beneath the photo, Jason wrote, "Our story is alive. People are listening." Emma smiled, tears in her eyes. They had started with a feeling of distance, sadness, uncertainty. But now, they had built a bridge not just between two cities, but between hearts. Jason wrote back that night, "I used to think being far meant losing something, but I've learned it means growing in new ways. We are strong, we are human," Emma replied, "and we will keep building together no matter where we are." Sometimes they still missed the days when they could sit side by side, sharing stories face to face. But their distance had taught them something precious. They learned how to hold on. Even when things change, they learned that friendship is not. It's about being close by. It's about being close at heart, and in a world that moves fast and far. That kind of connection is rare and powerful. Their comic wasn't just a story about to friends. It was a story about hope, about courage, about the strength inside every human to reach out, to keep trying and to believe. It was a story that showed how even when someone moves away, they never really leave, because love, kindness, and hope live on.